We're back here on Southeastern 16. Chase Robinson here, Jay Greeson here, and we're going to give you some bold predictions on the Alabama Crimson Tide heading into the 2025 season. A lot to talk about when it comes to Alabama in year two under Kalen DeBoer. But we'll start off by telling you about our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel.com is where you need to go. Jay, anything on the Alabama Crimson Tide that you like over there at FanDuel?
Well, even despite some of the injury concerns coming out of the first or the final preseason scrimmage over the weekend in Tuscaloosa, I'm bullish on this Alabama team on a lot of reasons. I also think the 13.5 is, if you like Alabama in the week one date at Tallahassee, 13.5, which is what it is at FanDuel right now, is something that I would be real eager to get as long as it's still under that 14 number. And we talk about this a bunch, but you need to pay attention to those swing numbers that are common across football point differentials, just because of both frequency and motivation of teams. I mean, if it gets north of 14, Alabama let the air out of the ball if they're up 14 in the fourth quarter. If it's under 14, you feel good about them letting the air out of the ball. But if they're only up 7, they're going to still try to score and run the offense. So it's motivation as much as it is mathematics. So I do like Alabama in Tallahassee minus the 13.5. And just some other numbers on the board. They are plus 460 to win the SEC. The over-under is 9.5 wins, and that's right there to coin flip either way, yes or no. You can bet that. If you are, like I know you are, Chase, bullish on Alabama, and you want to find better odds, especially you can bet over 9.5 wins as opposed to betting the minus 188 for them to get in the playoff, because I think it's going to take 10 wins this year to get in the playoff. And so if you get better odds betting over the win total than actually getting in the playoff.
So that's over at FanDuel. Player props there, same game parlays, very deep, impressive menu there. FanDuel has you covered with competitive odds, tons of betting options. Just remember to bet responsibly and have fun with it. Also, got to tell you about our friends at GameTime SIDEKICKS. Yeah, that's where you need to go for all of your and Jay's showing you there the SEC Cup. I don't have mine with me right now. Officially licensed stainless steel drinkware. All SEC schools plus 350 more universities. Top of the market quality as far as construction and ice retention goes. They've got everything from stainless steel sippy cups, tumblers, 40-ounce plus bottles, and shaker cups. And you have a promo code to use, SE16, for a 20% discount to you, the viewers. That is SE16, 20% discount there at GameTimeSidekicks.com. Before we get into bold predictions, Jay, you mentioned injuries for Alabama and a tough one over the weekend, and that is with Jam Miller, the running back for the Crimson Tide, who will be out against Florida State. Not really a timetable on him, upper body injury, so we'll see as we get closer to games and kind of how Kalen DeBoer updates everybody on that injury. But I think it's important to look at who's behind Jam Miller. Richard Young, a redshirt sophomore, Daniel Hill, I've heard a lot of good things about out of Alabama's fall camp. So we're going to get to see a little, we thought it was going to be Jam Miller. We're going to get to see the other guys to start the season and kind of how they change things and utilize the running back room moving forward.
Well, and it wouldn't surprise me if the Louisiana transfer, Dre Washington, who over the last 2 years has right at 1,000 yards, but a very impressive career average of right at 6 a carry, gets on the field too. I mean, and he's been pretty dynamic in his limited numbers in the passing game as well. So, look, man. Nobody in August wants to hear news about any starter being injured, but there are some elite rosters in this league, and Alabama is one of them, and nobody's going to apologize for the next 5-star who has their number called for Kalen DeBoer's team.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And so hopefully we'll see Jam Miller sooner rather than later. But again, tough injury there to the supposed started running back there for Alabama in Jam Miller. So let's get to some bold predictions for the Alabama Crimson Tide. I'll go first, and this has to do with the offense. And, you know, there's been a lot of talk about this wide receiver room in Alabama, and I think Ryan Williams gets a lot of the talk. Some tremendous catches last year, really a game changer, especially at the beginning of last season. But when I look at this wide receiver room this year, Jay, my bold prediction for Alabama is that Jeremy Bernard is first team all SEC receiver when it's all said and done in 2025. I think that he's that kind of player. I think because of the talent in this wide receiver room, its defenses are going to have to change. You can't cover everybody. And so I think Jeremy Bernard is poised to have a really good season. Alabama's going to throw the ball a lot, and I think we'll see Jeremy Bernard on that first team all SEC as a receiver.
Well, you know, sometimes it feels like we do a fair number of these bold predictions that I don't know how bold we are, but that one would be bold considering the names at that position in this league. And not only, hell, man, if you're first team all Alabama, all Yellow Hammer State wide receiver with the rooms in Alabama and in Auburn this year, then you're probably going to hear your name called in the first couple of rounds of the NFL draft.
Yeah,
at some point. So it's an unbelievably deep position. But I agree with you because, look, their last year together in Washington, Kalen DeBoer and reuniting with that offensive staff, with Michael Penix Jr. pulling the trigger and Roma Duze and a whole lot of those dudes, they were very Spurrier-esque back in his heyday in the fun and gun, where they would find your scab and they'd pick it till you bled to death. And I think operating in the slot, I think Bernard's going to have a monster year. So I'm on board with that. And which leads me to mine, because if we're going to talk about monster years, I don't know if Alabama's got a better player than Caden Proctor. So I've got Caden Proctor winning the Lombardi as the best individual offensive lineman and winning the Outland Trophy, which is the best overall lineman. So I think this guy could sweep them all.
Yeah, and you know, Caden Proctor is so interesting to me because we saw him obviously leave for a few minutes and then come back to Tuscaloosa to be a part of what Kalen DeBoer was building. And just hearing him talk at SEC Media Days, and I know players don't always give us a lot, but just hearing him like talk about the ways he's been working, watching his tape last year, not liking what he saw, like what he's done in the offseason, the work he's put in, like to be the absolute best. And like I completely agree. I think he could definitely be one of those guys we're talking about winning that Lombardi Award. But I really like him, and I think it's really good Alabama was able to keep him on that roster.
Well, and just because these numbers, and I can remember talking with you during an Alabama summertime show, singing the praises of Caden Proctor. Bruce Feldman with the New York Times and The Athletic puts out his college football freaks list every year. And these numbers just deserve to be repeated because these are just mathematical oddities and eye-popping numbers. Caden Proctor, 6'7", 366 pounds. He squatted 815, benched 535, and power cleaned 405 pounds. That's right at a ton in those three weightlifting operations. Moreover, at 366 pounds, he has a 32-inch vertical and broad jump 9 feet 3 inches. This is not your normal 6'7", 366-pound dude.
Yeah, those are insane numbers. I mean, and I'm excited to see what he can do there on that offensive line for Alabama. What else you got, Jay?
Well, I also think, look, there's a lot to like about this Alabama roster, and we spent a whole bunch of the July months debating which of the three new quarterbacks inheriting these, as I call them, these Cadillacs that they get to drive. And Ty Simpson's one of them. And look, there's going to be a whole lot written about Ty Simpson, said about Ty Simpson, good and bad, depending on how the outcomes flow in on Saturdays throughout the next 3+ months. But one of the things that I think is going to be an absolute hallmark is I think Alabama's got 8, 9, 10 plus defensive guys on that will hear their name called on the NFL draft. I think this is a relentless, talented, and overpowering defense, especially with the middle linebacker who tore his ACL at Oklahoma. By all reports, he's a full go and ready to start the year cranking. So my third bowl, or our third bowl prediction for Alabama this year, is Kane Womack, Alabama's defensive coordinator, will be a Broyles Award finalist given to the nation's best assistant coach, which we also know that could be a potential springboard into being on the short list of a head coaching job somewhere if Womack wants that to be part of his future.
No, yeah, I completely agree with you there. And Kane Womack was in his time as head coach at South Alabama, really impressive what he did to that program. Got them to straight bowl games and continue to win the Sun Belt. Like, he is a really good head coach. And so when I saw him take the defensive coordinator job at Alabama, I thought, like, okay, you know, he's leaving a head coach to go back to being a coordinator, but he definitely could be a head coach again. And yeah, what the potential of this defense is really good. So I'm excited to see for his part of it, like what the future holds from him. Because yeah, I mean, he very well could be a Broyles Award finalist.
Well, it's a relentless crew that is, I mean, I don't know if they have a weakness. And to highlight that point defensively, I don't know how many teams across college football in our modern era you would say this about, but there are no recent portal guys projected to be starters on a defense, which means you want to talk about continuity. You want to talk about building around guys that you really not only have helped groom, but you believe in and trust. I don't know. I mean, you and I have looked at a bunch of depth charts doing these predictions and conversations about all these SEC teams. I don't know how many of them I can say do not have a guy from the portal in the last couple of cycles. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, yeah, that is that's a great point. Yeah, as on their projected starters, all of them coming back. And you mentioned Deontay Lawson a few minutes ago. Having him back will be huge there for the Crimson Tide there on defense. So we'll see what the Alabama Crimson Tide will do. They will open things up August 30th afternoon game. They're in Tallahassee against the Florida State Seminoles to start the year. And you can go over to FanDuel as always, and check out what those guys have. Let's tell you about ROKFORM first, though. They also partner with us. ROKFORM.com is where you can go check out all these great accessories that they have. And there's some really cool stuff there. The world's strongest magnetic phone case, extreme protection, super strong magnets. They have that Rock Lock secure mounting, the most durable and multifunctional phone case accessories. They've got golf accessories, speakers, all kinds of stuff. You just need to go check it out. ROKFORM, ROKFORM, ROKFORM.com. Use promo code SEC25 for 25% off your order there. SEC25, 25% off. And you mentioned some numbers from our friends at FanDuel to start, Jay. Anything else on Alabama you like, and just as we get ready to hit the field for the Crimson Tide in a couple of weeks?
Well, I think it's a pretty fair and somewhat intriguing price on Alabama to win the SEC at plus 460, just because Texas and Georgia are the runaway favorites. But the one thing I think you get a little concerned about is as you try to navigate schedules, Alabama's got some difficult business trips this year. They go to Red Stick. They go to the craziness that is always the Iron Bowl. And aren't they in Athens? So
yeah, they are.
I mean, I would be cautious with that. I believe this is right there on that 9 to 10 win team. So it's understandable. That's kind of a coin flip. But maybe the best one I like on the board is certainly week 1, laying the 2 touchdowns, because I think they're going to come out strong against a Florida State team that's got a litany of questions.
Yeah. So there you go. Check it out, FanDuel.com. We appreciate all of our sponsors for help making this possible. We will be back with more SEC football coverage. Subscribe to our channel. Like this video. Alabama fans, let us know what you think. If you have a bold prediction we didn't get to, drop it in the comments. Share it with your friends. Spread the word about Southeastern 16. And we'll be back with more SEC football coverage.